In this video, we're going to do a quick overview of the file structure and folder structure of a website. In other words, we're going to be talking about what makes up a website, what is the composition of a website, and what is the structure or file structure and folder structure of a website. So right here I've got Visual Studio Code open. It's the one that we've been using throughout the class, probably the one that you've been using for all of your projects. So let's go ahead and let's begin by creating ourselves a project folder. So I'm going to go ahead and start out in the My Documents folder. I like to keep everything organized with a development folder, and then inside of that folder I'm going to go ahead and create a root folder for my website. So here we're going to do, let's call it just web structure, and that is going to be the root of our website. Now, you're going to hear me refer to the root quite often in this tutorial and probably in a lot of videos hereafter. Now, what the root refers to is the main folder in which all of the website files and folders exist. This becomes the folder from which the web server is actually dishing out the content for a particular website. And in the web server terms, it is the root folder for the website, and everything in the website is relative to that root. So when the web server is looking for the index.html in order to serve up the initial home page of a website, it is going to be looking in this folder. And for our demo purpose right now, we've got this web structure is going to be our root. When it comes to a website, the most important file that you can have for a basic website is going to be your index.html. So let's go ahead and create an index.html. And we're going to go ahead and save it inside of our web structure, so in the root of our website. And let's just call it index.html. Go ahead and save it. And now, if we went and we looked inside of the web structure folder, we should now see that we have an index.html file, and that is going to be the one that the web server looks for first when a request to our URL for the website comes in. So if I go to timclark.com and I don't add anything after .com, like a slash and then another file name or a folder path, it is going to be serving up the index.html page. When we look at folder structure, we can have inside of this folder pretty much any structure we want. We could have all of our HTML pages just put in. So if we also needed another page added to our website, so here I'm adding another page with Control N or Command N on a Mac. We could have a whole nother page in here, and let's say it's the About Us page, so about.html. Oh, I added that in the actual page itself. I needed to click Control S to save it, and let's say about.html. Now, if we go back to our folder structure, you'll see now that inside the root of our application, so inside of web structure, we've got our about.html and our index.html. Now, like I was saying, we could have all of our pages just inside of this folder. We could also add all of our CSS files. So if we do a Control N again or Command N on Mac, we could add our style sheets directly to the root of the website. So let's call this main.css, and this holds all of the styles or the look and feel for our website. We can look and we can see that we've added that directly into the root of our website. Now that's perfectly acceptable. In today's modern web, websites are a lot more sophisticated than they used to be. So usually what happens is web developers will try to be more organized in their setup of the website's folder and all of its subfiles and folders. So to do that and to make it more effective, more efficient, and more organized, it is typical to see a folder such as scripts inside of your website, and then another folder called styles, and then another folder called images. Now, you might see images made much smaller and it's just IMG. You might see scripts as just ST or SC. And you might see styles as just CSS. All those folders pretty much refer to the same thing. So styles, again, you might see a folder that says styles like we have here. You might see one that says CSS, or it might actually have the full name called style sheets. And scripts, again, it would be scripts. It could be JS, it could be SC, or it could be JavaScript, as in the entire word laid out. And then here, image or IMGS or something like that. It is also common to see what a lot of developers put in is an assets folder. And inside of that assets folder, any of these folders that we consider to be assets or supplementary content for the website gets placed in this asset folder. And right here you can see I've got a CSS, so let's put it into our assets folder, and then let's put that into the styles folder. And so all of your CSS would be in styles, all of your JavaScript files would be in scripts, and then every image that's in your website would be inside of the images folder. Now, the question would be, when we are using an assets folder or any of these three folders maybe in our root, how do we get to those files, or how do we import them into the web pages that we're working with? And so if we open up our index.html right here, number one, we've got to have our doc type right here, and then we're going to start off with HTML, of course, as our root, and we're going to have a head tag, and then we also need a body tag. All right, so we got our basic file structure right here, and when it comes to our CSS and trying to get to that file, if we look right here, we've got our website structure, we've got assets, we've got our styles and our scripts right here. Right now we don't have anything in images or scripts, but in our styles folder we have a main.css. And so the question is, how do we get to that main CSS and pull it into our HTML file? Well, of course, we're going to use ourselves a link element, and in the link element we're going to specify that we are using a style sheet as the relationship for this resource being pulled into our page, and then the href, or the hyperlink reference, to the document. Now here's where what I was talking about at the beginning when we're talking about the root of the website. All paths in a website are traditionally going to be relative to the root, and the / is the root of a website. And so you'll know that in a website, when you are trying to go all the way back to the root of the website, and that's where you're going to start looking for a file, you're going to just use /. Now, based on our structure that we set up, we're going to the assets folder, we're going to the styles folder, and then we're importing the main CSS file right there. So right there, we've imported our main CSS from the styles folder that's inside of our assets folder that sits at the root of our website. And if we double check that against our website structure, we'll see assets and then styles and then main.css in the file tree inside of Visual Studio Code. If we look at our folder structure on the system, we've got our index.html. We're sitting at the root of our website, which is the web structure. We can go into assets folder, and then we can go into our styles folder, and then we'll see the main. So hopefully that gives you a refresher, or helps you actually understand, if you didn't quite understand it, what the root of the folder structure is of a website, what root looks like in a file path, which is just the initial /, and then the folder path is actually put in just like you would see in Windows or in Mac when you are moving through folders in your file system. So that is the basic website file structure for pretty much any website that you're going to run into, or web application. Hope that helps.